So what happens is that when people is that there is I think because Bombay is a city that is about producing
Right.
film, art, etc. It seems that a lot of the people who really are participating in these conversations are interested in making the
Right.
film. And I think once you kind of start thinking about making, simplistic sort of positions become almost untenable to hold. You have to, in many ways, begin to engage with economies and publics and government organizations and
Yeah.
Yeah.
all these different bureaucracies and stuff like that.
The constant
So,
negotiation.
sorry.
It's a constant negotiation. Everything.
Constant negotiation. And so what ends up happening is that the question of newness that you put forth
Hmm.
is always there because of that. Because you're always in many ways constantly critiquing the presumptions that you've had as in the project that you did before. You're always in some senses trying to make newness
Hmm.
or look at the direction that your work is going to go to now that is done. And sometimes that direction is shaped by the interaction that you're having with the filmmaker friend over the next week, or an art exhibition that you went to, or something that you read, perhaps.
Right.
So there is a definite kind of the advantage of these different sorts of actors in the same space really allow you to constantly question presumptions that you have for yourself. So I think that for me, that's been the best thing about being in the city is to constantly watch yourself grow because
Hmm.
of these shifts. I find there are many people sometimes who stick to an ideological position in the beginning, and all their work for the past 15 years is doing the same thing, and that's extremely boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless maybe sometimes it's done with a great deal of difference and diversity within it. That's a.
Other than perhaps, but what I'm saying is that I feel like I feel that often then the work itself becomes merely a representation of the thought.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily kind of engage with the I understand what I'm trying to say.
I think
Yeah.
It's like
I
it
think so.
becomes polemical or you know what I
you're
mean. The
right.
work,
Rhetorical.
Yeah.
work itself doesn't have its own value. It becomes text.
There's no in philosophy they would say there's no embodiment
Yeah.
happening with the object of the work. Let's say within the object of the work where
Yeah, and I also think then there is no sort of translation of that thought in a way also, like that also ceases to happen. The thought becomes like this it becomes kind of stationary, and then the work is just it's like it's somewhere in the center, and then you're looking at it from different angles. Every piece of work that you do is a ये angle से देख लिया अब ये thought को, then we saw it from that angle, and it just keeps
almost
I'm really thinking about, I'm really thinking, this is what I call the I will always love you problem, right? And this is my,
yeah.
Houston's I will always love you.
yeah.
And actually, I mean, this is relevant, I think, especially for this conversation because you guys are in Germany and I'm in Bombay.
Okay.
Is that what I find is that there are certain ideas that sell well abroad.
Right.
Okay. There's a certain, I mean, especially in Germany, there's a sort of, and not just in Germany, in all of Europe, there's a sort of guilt of colonialism and imperialism that is very much. So a lot of brown people have figured that out. So what they do is that they then sell the exotic other
Right.
as this incredible thing that you just don't understand. Okay, and in Europe, people are more than happy to consume it because they're like, oh, at least we feel bad about it.
Right.
So what happens is that particular imagination of the exotic, strange, weird, I don't know what, and it doesn't necessarily mean you need snake charmers and elephants. It could just be the wonderful dynamics of the slums in Bombay, or my favorite, the dabbawalas.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Shantaram.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shantaram, great one.
Yeah.
So you take that thing, right?
Right.
And in abroad, of course, they will lap it up because it's absolutely down their alley.
Right.
So what happens is that you get your own validation by the fact that you get called to Germany to make a presentation or whatever. That becomes the mode, right? And once you get that validation, it seems as if it is you also believe that it is right,
Mm-hmm.
that you are right.
Mm-hmm.
And validation will keep coming because that's exactly what international kind of discourse would want from you as a brown person.
Right.
But you never, and you don't want to question it because you're getting your own validation through it. This is the Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" problem. Is that if you go for a Whitney Houston concert, if she doesn't sing "I Will Always Love You," it's a problem. So it's like that. If when a foreign university calls a brown academic to make a presentation,
Right.
if that person doesn't bring the slum, then
Yeah,
Then
you're in
what are you
trouble.
doing
Then it's
there?
like
Yeah.
that's a very confusing.
yeah. And I mean, I must say, I'm saying this because I know I've been guilty of it too. So I've been
Okay.
just to make it clear, right?
Yeah.
Because it is something that you see yourself automatically doing, and it's really scary. It's
And it's
really,
a
really
kind
scary.
of low hanging fruit you're
Yes,
trying to say.
it's really too easy. And what ends up happening because of that is that you are not necessarily growing.
Mm-hmm.
You are staying still.
Mm-hmm.
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 You have asked the question that they wanted you to ask. Okay, and you have forgotten that there are many more questions that perhaps that one needs to be able to look at. So the tricky thing is this though. The tricky thing is to be able to balance both because God, I'm telling too many stories.
We are
It's
here
okay,
for
right?
No,
all of them.
we are
Please,
here for
please
that.
keep going.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one more story. So once upon a time, the Netherlands Architecture Institute,
Uh-huh.
which is these amazing men, Ole Baumann and Jon, very close friend. They wanted to do something in India. Okay,
Okay.
so Jon says, can KRVI organize something? So I said, okay, we'll organize it.
Uh-huh.
We organized it, but we decided to organize it at some place in Burli, okay, for some reason.
Hmm.
I don't know. Make it closer to people. We had to call all the architects of Bombay for that meeting.
Okay.
So we made calls. We made calls saying, come, whatever.
Yeah.
As soon as I said Dutch, call it Dutch NAI, they are like, yeah, we'll come. Like, this is the mess. Jumping,
Everyone's
right? And I get so pissed about that because we do seminars every year.
Yeah.
Okay, we were begging people to come, and then not a single person turns up.
ah.
Okay, you have like some Dutch people are coming, and now suddenly everybody's dying to be part of that room. Okay, I'm pissed off. But what was really nice was that actually is that what happened is that so we had this meeting. The meeting happens. KRVI shows some Pune, some work that we had done in Pune or whatever, irrelevant. Huh? But after that entire discussion, Ola, and I love the Dutch, very simply says, okay, fine, this is all very good, etc. But tell us a very simple thing. What can you do for us and what can we do for you? Okay.
Yeah.
That's yeah, like that, very much. And very Bombay, na? Like, very सीधा बोलना. Don't give me all that.
धंधे का टाइम है.
I love that. So I'm anyway really angry, okay, really pissed. It's like, what we can give you Bombay. It's there, na? You can come.
Oh, और क्या चाहिए?
Okay, you tell me any other place that is going to be there like this is not going to happen. And what you can give us validation, for God's sake. We've been doing this every year. Nobody turns up. Okay, you called once and they all came. Finally, we have to recognize the fact that the spaces of validation, unfortunately, for many of us in India, continue to be dictated by those in Europe and America.
Hmm.
As long as we are able to, I mean, we have to understand the way that power works, no?
Right.
So I think so one has to be able to kind of say that okay, that is unfortunately the space. It's important to start trying to create an alternative space, an alternative mode through which one understands architecture and architectural value systems, aesthetic systems, perhaps in this country, in this particular place that we are at.
But you're not.
And the
Sorry.
only way to do it, and maybe the only way to do it is to do it as a ventriloquist through the face.